So many of you emailed us yesterday about this story, the convicted cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal, who was allowed to speak at a college commencement, silenced for good, perhaps. The governor of Pennsylvania signed a bill to keep convicts from causing further mental anguish to the victims' families. Abu-Jamal's victim, Officer Daniel Faulkner, and Daniel's widow, Maureen, joins us live this morning from Los Angeles. Thank you very much, Maureen, for being with us today.
Good morning, Steve.
A couple of weeks ago, when we first heard this story that the kids at Goddard College decided that they wanted this cop killer to be their commencement speaker, we thought, that's just crazy. Didn't think about you. Every time this guy's in the news, what does that do to you?
It's very emotional, and it's emotional for the Faulkner family and friends of Danny that once again we have to hear his voice over so many years when he actually, you know, he's a murderer. And he murdered my husband with premeditation and malice so many years ago, yet he still has a voice.
He does. Now, the people of Pennsylvania were outraged by him being allowed to do this, but there wasn't anything to stop it. So the other day, the governor of Pennsylvania signed a bill. Tell us what it's called and what it's going to do.
It's called the Revictimization 508 Act, and what will happen is if there are murderers or rapists that want to try to speak out publicly, the survivors will be able to try to stop it. And by doing that, it will go before a judge, and the judge will have the opportunity to say, no, these murderers will not be able to speak publicly anymore. So going forward,
so
it's a great bill.
Sure. If this guy gets another invitation to go talk to some people, it would be taken before a judge, and a judge would either say yes or no, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Well,
and it's a step forward for survivors of crime that have to endure the heartache.
Well, you know what?
Over and over again.
The ACLU in Pennsylvania, Maureen, says this. Essentially, any action by an inmate or former offender that could cause mental anguish could be banned by a judge. That can't pass constitutional muster under the First Amendment. They say it's too broad, wouldn't stand up. What do you say to that?
I think it will stand up, Steve. And, you know, he is still able to have phone access. He is still able to talk to his family and have access to personal friends and spiritual advisors. He will not be able to publicly speak where he can harm and emotionally traumatize the Faulkner family and I. So it will stand up.
Well, you know, his supporters say he's just a victim. He's a victim of a racist judicial system.
He's a callous murderer who has never admitted to this day what he has done. He's never even, you know, he says that it's not he says it's not a crime. It's not, what he did was not a crime, because he doesn't think it's a crime to murder a police officer. He's an evil, callous man, and his voice needs to be taken away.
Well, with any luck, we won't hear much more from him. But it was great to hear your point of view.
Thank you, Steve.
Maureen Faulkner joined us this morning.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much as well for joining us.